if you want to say something.
It's more of a question. If we can't get the younger generations to acknowledge the Das Effects, the Big L's, the Brand Movie, and all that, right? How are we going to get them to acknowledge the old
Is anybody showing them?
Huh? No, but this is the thing. Like, I deliver workshops and facilitate as well, and I'm still dropping gems on youths. But at the same time, I have to drop them American gems on them. If I show them a UK guy, their head's even more gone.
You know what? There's one example where it actually worked, because I do with a lot of like young kids, and when you talk about hip hop from the UK, they think like it was invented from like gigs, which is only like a few years ago. But there was one example where it was different. Like you show them some old school like hip hop from the UK, they're like exactly like Big Temple saying, "Oh, who's this old guy rapping? What's this?" But there's one example I saw. I think it was last year, 2 years ago. Link Up TV. They done a little thing on hip hop, and they mentioned London Posse.
Yeah.
Now the amount of youths who saw that, it was like London Posse. They were doing stuff like that in London. Like, and because it was coming from Link Up TV, they found that in a respectable way, and that's why I say it's good to give homage. Because if that was from someone else, it's like, you know, like when you're a youth and you're in the barber shop and you got that old man chatting rubbish and you're like, yeah, whatever. But you know what I mean? Because it's coming from someone. But that's the mentality they got in it. But because it's coming from someone that's relevant to them, they take it more seriously, and that educated a lot of people because they didn't know about it.
See, we're still focusing on the whole MCing side of things. I remember there's a certain dance school, and I remember seeing this guy, and this guy was locking and everything. I was like, whoa, you're really good. So I was like, let me have a word with this guy. He's like, yeah, so how long have you been doing this? You know, what, did you watch Beat Street and all that? And he's like, no, I'm classically trained. And this was a grown man. He said he was classically trained, but this guy was like locking and popping like he was from the street. And I was shocked. That's what I call a culture point. I was like, this guy literally just took it and was like, and he's teaching other people. Now, anyone that's from, I don't know, our generation or, you know, over 30s, if you, back then, when you first got into hip hop, you didn't go to a class to teach you how to dance. It was something you had. It was in you. You didn't go to a class someone was playing Britney Spears and telling you to dance hip hop to Britney Spears. Please, where did this come from? And this is what they're teaching kids now. They're like, yeah, we're doing street dance classes, and we're going to teach you how to dance to Britney Spears. I'm like, what's that about? So, you know, even the dance side of things, they're not the so-called dance classes that are out there, the high-end ones. They're literally just rinsing. They're literally looking at what we're doing and taking it and making it their own, while we're just sitting back going, all right, take it.
That brings me to the question of control. But let me just get this guy's opinion first.
How you doing? You're right. It's just a question, because obviously, you know, when I first started listening to hip hop, you know, since electro rock, all the way back up.
You look young still.
But the thing is, you know, because hip hop back in the day, really, this kind of hip hop I used to love was about, you know, expressing, young people expressing, you know, what was going on in their lives. And obviously, I listened to it because I related to it and what was going on in my life. I think now, you know, when we say hip hop's a movement, you know, I don't know what that means no more. So when the panel says it's a movement for what? To what? What's this movement about?
Me personally, the movement to me is bringing everyone together. I try and approach artists, not just rappers, as I said, it's DJs, graffiti artists, breakdancers, and I try to bring them together, and that's the movement I'm trying to work on. Is like, you know, no matter where you're from, and somebody said, you know, everyone's focusing on London, and you're right, but it's bigger than London. You know, I come here, and I've been listening to Malik for years, and you know, there's people up in Glasgow, you've got people like Bowes and all those guys, Toy Control up in Glasgow, you've got people in Leicester, you know, there's so many underground groups, and what I try to do is reach out to those people, and that's my movement. I'm trying to say, look, let's just all get together, have a nice one night, you know, one roof, we just bring it under one roof for the night and just show this is what hip hop is, and just keep the essence, the true essence of hip hop there, all of the elements under one roof. And that's the movement, that's my movement personally. I can't speak for everyone else on the panel, but go for it.
Can I just get these gentlemen, please?
Hello, good evening. I'm Stefan from Germany. I relocated last year to Birmingham.
What part of Germany?
And sorry for my English, just in training.
What part of Germany?
What part? South Germany, where the mountains are. where the guys and the
Big
cows and the
country.
villages are.
Big country.
I call myself dance educator and hip-hop cultural educator because I do this all my life long, and since 20 years I'm trying to get into what you're talking about. And the point of the movement, and the point you told me, you told everybody else, about the dance class, the classical
Yeah.
professional dancer, about hip-hop is exactly that what we need to do. I think because come together is one point. Because when I started to b-boying, it was 1993.
So you know store.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
a personal friend
Yeah,
of
see,
me.
that's why.
Exactly,
I
I know.
was out in Germany.
Yes, I was in New York and did my research. I was at Quick Step's house. I was at Papa Rich's house. I was at home at the hats because I want my questions in the class as well. What is this from? And can you say it's and 8 or 8 and 1 or whatever? And the teachers were desperately not able to tell me what I wanted to know, so I have to go to the legends. That was my way in the 90s and the last 10 years as well. So I'm writing a book over all that way because I think exactly the education.
Yeah.
You have to come together because you said in the beginning it's fragmented. It's completely fragmented. Everybody at home sits on his ass in front of a computer, opens up YouTube, look after a video, look what suits him best or her, sorry, and just carry on and don't know about the whole background. This is no mistake, this is what is. Because we're not together. We're competing each other, I don't know how. Because everywhere where I went to training, I was a lot of spots over the world to train with b-boys. It's not that anymore than it was before, because I come into the room, as I first came with a single six-step and a crushed down windmill, and I was respected because I dance. Finish. It's not, oh, somebody new in the room, we have to battle him first, because, yeah, you know, that's not, that was in the 90s, okay? The thing is, we have to push back a little bit the industry and take each other hands to that what you're told. Come together like wild style and do everything what we love to do. Educate the young people because, sorry, the industry is just working with money. And who is paying the money? The people they're buying. And we are not buying too much because we share. I never go to a CD shop and take something from there because I get it from friends, from other b-boys. We share with each other. We're not the industry, we're the artists. I think we have to make it attractive to educate and buy something in one way. We have to be form pictures. We have to be standing in front of people and say, yes, I am from the old days, but I'm still cool because I can tell you more than you ever imagined.
Okay, there's an agreement that there needs to be more education around hip-hop, and also an agreement that there needs to be more unity. But I suppose that's something that we can kind of look more into details in the solution part. What I did want to kind of visit is this whole question of who's controlling UK hip-hop. So, do UK hip-hop artists control the creativity of their own music? Is what they're saying and what they sound like authentic, or does the mainstream commercialism, does mainstream commercialism dictate this? Ted, I'm just looking at you, so can you?
Wow, it's a long question. Do they control their creative content, basically? Well, in my experience, yes. The authentic hip-hop artists that I've had the pleasure of playing their music for 15, 16, 17 years, it's always been their choice to make what they're making. Personally, my time when I was on mainstream radio, I will say that I worked in the industry, but I didn't work for the industry. So the music I played was never influenced by, oh, well, you know, record companies leaning on me to do them this favor and do them that favor. That was never that for me. And I used to get paid barely any money for my radio show, but I turned up because I wanted to have the opportunity to give these artists some airtime. Like, I can maybe only give you 4 minutes a week, but that's 4 minutes a week you're gonna get. Take it and do something with it. The artists that I came across always had their own creative control. The problem, a little bit wider than that, was the people that, like in other industries, you have DJs that make the music and play the music and have record labels, and we're doing all of that. So you might have a funk master flex, he'll, you know, produce a couple of records and then release it on his own label or sign a deal and be able to release stuff. That kind of thing has never really existed over here. We haven't had, you know, a DJ Khaled who can put out an entire album of his favorite artists, and you know, that's something that we've lacked. But in terms of the artists that I've come into contact with, like this man right here, I've reviewed his records donkeys years ago. I've played his records on my show. When we did the Hip Hop Awards, I spoke to the organizer. I made sure that he took it outside of London. You guys came down south, I had this big ass flag was waving in front of you guys, like in the middle of London, Leicester Square. We had a, you know, like the artists that I've come across in my time of playing records with 279 and Choice, and then alongside Shorty Blitz on Kiss, you know, and on my show now, it's always been about these guys giving me what they want themselves to be known for.
Malik and SIC'NIS, it'd be good to hear from you as kind of artists in your own right. Do you feel pressurized to kind of maybe water down what you do to kind of get more commercial success?
Sometimes it's not about, you're not even thinking about the radio, you know, because it's the public who's turned like that. So you'll be playing your music, like a lot of people who's artists have been through this, where they're playing their music and their girl ain't checking for none of their music. You know what I'm saying? And then you do it, say if you pick a beat that's probably a more certain way, and then you see different people starting to like it, and sometimes as an artist, you get attracted to that. So sometimes you ain't so much chasing something, but sometimes you just want to make music that appeals to people and touches people more. So there is a mix between that and people just wanting a tune, sounding like other music. Let me get a trap beat, let me do this flow, yeah, this will work. There's that, and then there's just trying to reach a slightly wider audience.
Okay, SIC'NIS, how about you?
I think that we definitely control the creativity of our own product. It's just the mainstream that controls, you know, the outside elements. That's why you don't hear too much UK hip hop in the mainstream. I think it just boils down to that we all are coming from a place where we feel like this is where we belong, this is the music that we love. But to break through that barrier, that's above us. That's like, the people on mainstream radio need to play us, they need to play us, but they get told what to play. So it's kind of hard. You have to remain independent. And going back to someone who mentioned Jay-Z, Jay-Z was told when he first started, your lips are too big, you rap too fast, you wear flip-flops with jeans, you're not going to make it. So Jay-Z pressed up his own CDs and sold them out of the boot of his car, and now look at him, whether or not you respect him, you have to respect the movement that he made.
Yeah,
so I think that
you got to respect that, you know what I'm saying? Get a laugh for you, you know what I'm saying? Crazy.
Smooth, you know, you work on One Extra, you worked on other radio stations.
Yeah, One Extra. Yeah, I'll pay you your wages.
We can't hold down the whole station. Do you think hip-hop artists need record labels and mainstream radio to make a success of their careers?
Not necessarily, because a lot of times, like, you've got so many outlets now. You've got like big singles selling 1 million copies just from being a flipping vibe, like 16 seconds of the song, then it's big. You got like things like SoundCloud, you're getting random people from like China listening to your tunes. There's so many different outlets. It's not necessarily so much getting on the main stations, because at the same time you got community stations, you got pirate stations, you got clubs. There's loads of different avenues, and what I've found when it comes to the mainstream stations, they get the songs late anyway. They're not trailblazers anymore. Because I'm listening to them, they're all like rinse out tunes I heard like 2 years ago, you know what I mean? It's like, there's so many more avenues which are even free for artists now that they can do that. That's the thing.
Right, so who's making the money then?
Who's making the money? The people making the money are the ones that are smart enough to say, okay, we want to advertise this new car. How can we bring hip hop in there? Let's turn this car into a breakdancing transformer. Like, those are the people that are making money. You know, there are so many adverts that I've seen in the last 2-3 years that have so many hip hop elements in them.
What's the one with the scratching? Is it a scratching monkey? Is it the insurance one?
The scratching monkey.
I don't know if it's scratching monkey. It's like some sort of
Oh, the
scratching.
with the 8. That's Capri, isn't it? No, that's strumming, isn't it?
No, there's one where it's got this little thing scratching.
But even there was the one with the guy, he had the hula hoops on his fingers, and then it was like a
Yeah.
Like there's so many, and you think, who are these guys? They must be, you know, dudes of our generation, but they just were gifted and they ended up in the media or whatever. But someone is convincing people to put money in, and hip hop does generate money, but it's not in the direction of anything that's necessarily going to benefit us. I mean, there are grassroots people that are doing clothing lines and, you know, doing other avenues like that, but sometimes when it comes to...
I think this week along didn't Lethal Bizzle kind of sign a record deal with... Was it Virgin?
Did he?
Bizzle.
Why?
Yeah,
You know,
He had control.
I would give Bizzle credit because he's been at this for years. And if he's still able to sign a deal like 10, 11 years later after he was initially successful, then credit to him. If he can, you know, if more artists were able to generate that level of interest that deep into a career where more recently it's been about very, very short lifespans. You know, someone like Chipmunk, I saw him come out and, you know, he did the first album and then he came to the second album at Chris Brown and had all these Americans and they changed up his image and then the album didn't sell, he was shut down. And there's a kind of history of them signing up talented artists and then giving them this mad exposure. When it doesn't work for one label, the rest of the industry looks at it like, hell no. Anyone else like that, we're not going to do it. We're not touching that. And I think we need to sometimes just fall back a little bit and be like, you know what, let's not bang our head against that glass ceiling quite so quickly. Let's just, you know, focus and get some broader shoulders and make sure people can't run at us and knock us over. You know, because so often we get one guy or we get one girl or we get one particular artist or there's a buzz behind someone. Like, look at Wiley. Wiley was a credible dude in his genre. He came and made some bizarre music and he went chart friendly, then people just turned on him. And now he's kind of had to turn his back on all of that and he's popular again. But I'm not really seeing his records on the videos, or I'm not hearing his songs on the radio like I used to. But I know Wiley's mad popular. You know, and it's that kind of attitude where you don't necessarily need the mainstream like that to maintain a credible audience and to keep your respect on it.
SIC'NIS.
I think it's about taking ownership of your talent and ownership of what you think, what your business is. I think the thing about Wiley, just to briefly touch upon that, Wiley produced under pseudonyms for years. There's some tunes that came out when I was in secondary school that he made under different names. You would never know that it was Wiley, but he made a lot of money from that. So I think it's just about knowing what your niche is and taking control of that. The best time as an artist, for me, if I perform at the venue, when I come off the stage, I know I can sell a bag of CDs, so it's on me to have a bag of CDs there to sell when I come off the stage, and I think it's just about that. It's about going through the motions and finding out what works and running with it. The people making money off it are the people who see the business element of the thing. They're going to continue to make money. I know an artist called Serisi, who is from Birmingham but now lives in London. 1 year Serisi toured Canada, Australia. Yeah, he's big. To me, that is successful. The mainstream may not know about Serisi, but Serisi is a businessman and he's getting money and he's doing it from doing what he loves. So, I mean, if your role models or your thing to aspire to is Lil Wayne, you're always going to be disappointed. But if the thing that you're aspiring to is just to be successful and do what you love doing, you're going to be winning and smiling forever.
What is success? Is it doing the music that you love, or is it kind of being able to make a living out of it?
I think, yeah, it's a bit of both. I think success comes down to knowing what your thing is and then being confident enough to do your thing and do your thing to the nth degree, where it then becomes a business, a viable business where you make whatever it is that you need or whatever your goals are that you achieve from that. Like that, to me, that's what success is.
See, what I'm thinking here is like, this brings me back to when I started rapping. What I see now is a lot of kids just jumping it and they thought, yeah, boy, well, money, innit? Whereas when I started rapping, it was something that I just did in my bedroom, and it was just a labour of love. And then if the money came, it came. If it didn't, I had something to fall back on. And that's what a lot of people need to do as well. You know, it's good having this dream, but you've also got to remember, Not everybody makes it. Not everyone's going to be Professor Green. Not everyone's going to be, you know, all the other artists that are out there. You need something to fall back on. Always remember that. That's one thing I say to anyone that's out there doing music, dance, whatever. Make sure you have something to fall back on.
Should they treat it more like a hobby rather than a profession? Because you always get, when I was younger, you always used to get some friends who were like into, you know, had ambitions of kind of being big stars, and they do cut a tune in the studio and they think they're gonna boss. And they don't. Well,
you're an actuary.
Well, they're dedicated to it for a couple of years.
Yeah, but that's the thing, when Dee said they were dedicated to it for a couple of years, there's nothing wrong with this is my hobby, but you can be serious about your hobby. If you're serious about your hobby, serious things are going to come from this hobby. So I think that you weren't dedicated then, because if you only gave it 2 years, your heart weren't really in it. Go and find something that your heart's really in, give it 10 years. I'd rather do something that I love doing than work for whoever for 10 years and build their dream and make their and pay their bills.
You know what?
On my own.
Just to build on several things now, because there's so much to talk about. But again, I'm 21 and I started rapping in the playground because a man said he was going to bust my head. No, I'm cool.
You started rapping because a man said he was going to bust your head?
Yeah, because I knew he rapped, so I thought the only way I could beat him is in a rap battle. So from just being in the playground dropping lyrics where so many people started in school, like I was saying to SIC'NIS before the show started, I've just come back from running workshops in Gambia, performed on national TV, had a show in Holland a couple of days ago. But that's because I started seeing myself as a business. Now I still do it for the love, 100%. But when I was 17, I said to myself, you know what, I'm never going to do anything I don't want to do. And for me, success, I define my own goals of success, which is making a living from doing something that I love.
Yeah, that's very true.
But not enough people are shown that. Not enough people, they are told it's a hobby, go there and I treat it. Or it's, oh, do you know what, yeah, you're going to boss if you do these 2 tunes. And they don't realize that it's not about the swift, it's about who can spell. Basically, it's a length of time, and you have to be able to do it for the long run.
Yeah.
It ain't a sprint. This game is not a sprint. And by the end of it, even if you run the 10,000 meters, you might still come last. But you have to realize you run the 10,000 meters for you, right? And you run it for you, and you've lived your life doing what made you happy. You might not make money, you might not have a 6-bedroom yard, but you've lived your life happy. And for me, happiness is the goal. Like, if I'm broke 10 years from now, but I know I've seen the world from doing what I love, I'm winning. I'm winning. So yeah.
Just to build on what Boston said and on the whole trade and everything, I think that what I said earlier about how since 2010 it's been like a new era of like a high standard of hip hop. I think like the independent route is so much more fruitful now. You know what I'm saying? I think it's an exercise in futility to expect a label to come and hold your hand through this journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's so different. The thing is oversaturated on a million. There's so many different types of hip hop. Find your lane and just run with it. You know what I'm saying? So, like me, I've been spitting since I was 11. I'm 21 as well. And in the daytime, in the weekdays, I'm on a building site as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm not expecting this thing to pay me nothing because anything that I get from it financially is not as much as what I put into it. But that's because it's a passionate hobby. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else is thinking about where to put this brick. I'm thinking about what to do with this bar. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's my soul, it's my heart and that. But I'm not thinking that my soul and my heart and my passion is going to fill my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many people. You just have to have that grip on reality. You know what I'm saying? You can have your talent. And you can have your self-worth, and it's not about instant gratification, it's about putting something down that's going to mean something in the future, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's that.
There's like 2 levels of things we're talking about, and they're actually rubbing up against each other now, because we're talking about industry, we're talking about business, we're talking about movement. You were asking about movement, what it is, and it is real togetherness. It is what you're doing, which is that you can't, hip-hop is DIY, but it's more like do it ourselves, not do it yourself. Because you need that passion for yourself, and to become a master of your craft, that's your responsibility. However, in terms of promotion, you can't do that by yourself. In terms of actually, just by yourself. You need, the thing is what I'm getting at is that when you talk about movement, the idea is togetherness. And we're going back to Zulu Nation, you know, ideals of we need each other. And, you know, Missy Brown is talking about, like, well, why did she bring us together here? It's not so we all can all kind of advertise our individual ideas, so that we can go back and do things by ourselves. It's the idea of that with numbers comes that there's a power in it. And it means that I have a little bit of time in my schedule where I can promote some of you guys, because I now know about you, and I can see the passion. I want to put my energy into the people who are most passionate in the room. If someone's just a play, it's just a hobby, and has been doing it for a few years, I'm not going to put my energy, I'm not going to make a music video for them, I'm not going to do anything. But if I see someone who cares about it, even if they've only been doing it for a few months, and I'm like, whoa, then I'm going to put it. And so that's it. So the movement is that togetherness and belief in the other people, belief in other people in the room.
This is the movement.
Hold on, if you put your hands up, then we'll come in.
See, there's another side of it though. I mean, there's a lot of people that, you know, I respect what you said, it's very good. I'm not taking anything away from you. But there are people out there that are in this business for, you know, you reach out to them and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, yo, what's in it for me? And they're the people that I don't approach.
Yeah.
That's you know, I know everyone's got managers and everything, but basically when I approach somebody and they say the word manager, I'm like, your manager's just going to be taking a cut of your money. I'd rather go to the artist direct, whether you're MC, breaker, I'll go to you direct and say, I got some change. If it's a good night, I'll split the bread with you. If it's not, then you see where I'm coming from. You know, I've approached artists and said, okay, how about you do a show? And the artist hasn't made a record for, I don't know, 15 years, and he says, yeah, give me £600. I'm like, bro, I don't even make that a damn door, but you want £600. So I don't approach those artists. I literally, you know, I reach out to people and say, let's do this together. I just want to have a nice vibe, and if you know, open book to me, you can see who's coming in. If you can see there's money, I'm like, right, we'll split the money at the end of the day. But don't come to me first of all and be like, yeah, pay me my fees before I even walk in, because I'm like, yo, it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
Yeah, just to, I want to touch on what you just said, X, and what this brother here just said as well. I mean, it's down to just being of the same ilk and people seeing your vision, you know what I'm saying? Because someone else might have approached them, someone from O2 or someone else, and it might have been no money, but they would have thought, well, let me jump on that, you know what I'm saying? So it's about, you know, you are going to get certain people like that they're just going to see you. But what I think it boils down to, other people have said as well, it's knowledge. This brother over here, what he's dealing with is he's got the right attitude and he's got the right outlook. Not everyone's got the right outlook and attitude, and it's down to how old he made it, and certain individuals will make it doing graffiti or whatever. It's down to attitude. And one thing that I notice about this brother is when I look at on the back of his t-shirt, I know that he's dealing with knowledge because I can see the symbols on the back of his t-shirt, and I'm sure that has contributed to his outlook. So it comes back to knowledge of self. I think that that's the glue of all the elements, you know. And it's like the arts and sciences of the, you know, the Renaissance people like Sir Christopher Wren, Isaac Newton. They use the arts and sciences to become more knowledgeable about themselves, and that's how they was able to paint a picture one day, write, make a song another day, do all different things within the arts and sciences. And I think that that's what the elements of hip hop has been bestowed onto us, for us to rise through it, through the arts and sciences, and become, to better ourselves, and become whatever we want to become. And I think it's down to knowledge.
I'm kind of slightly confused because we're saying that it's about unity. Do people not care about money? So because you just want to be able to kind of live to a certain degree, but you don't want to be successful like American artists.
Nah, I think the money comes with your commitment. Your money comes, like, your rewards come when you put the work in and you're consistent with it and your attitude and your outlook is right. You know, like, I've been in this thing for years and I never set out to be a DJ as such. Like, I liked hip hop, I bought the records, I had a decent record collection. I listened to DJs, I learned how to do it. People heard what I did, they liked what I did, and doors opened. And my love of the craft and hip hop in general kept moving me along to different levels. So I started out in my bedroom, I ended up on TV, I ended up on radio, I ended up internationally going around the world. Like I went to Africa, deepest Kenya, to go and teach DJ workshops. Like 22 years ago, I was doing that. Like, that's where my commitment to it took me. And I was never thinking about, how am I going to get around the world and make some money? That was never my attitude, but it took me around the world and I've made, you know, a decent living off it and whatever else, but it was never my intention to come in this and make money. I've spent way more money initially than I was ever getting back. People paying me £50 for a box of records that cost £300. You know, like it's that kind of thing. So when you're talking about, am I not in it for the money? I was never in it for the money, but I'm happy that my commitment to it was rewarded financially. I'm not gonna, you know, be mad about that.
Yeah, to start any movement, yeah, like you can't start a movement straight for the money when you're doing anything creative. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of that you can't think like that. You can't be like, yeah, I'm in it for the P, and try to be creative and try to have a movement. It has to be the movement first. You have to light the spark, and with the spark and what you generate, that's how you know what I mean. You have to make the music, the money off that. But the big initial beginnings, it has to be love and unity.
I totally agree with that. I think one of the problems that we face, I think the gentleman over here hit it right in the head really. Because even when I started in music, because I used to rap, and then I was a singer. I was a better singer than a rapper, to be fair. I found, you know, trying to get into a studio was, you know, you can get in there, they want you to do their thing, innit? So I think what I had to find out, I bought my own studio equipment and learned how to use it. So that took me about a good 5 years. Then I found out, no, I have to learn how to play an instrument because I have to input the information into the computer, so I had to learn that. That took me about another 2 years. By the time I've done it all, I'm not really interested in music no more, to be fair. I just listen to it. But the thing is, the problem is now, we've got, you know, loads of people that, you know, are very talented, you know, very good singers, very good engineers, very good producers. But everyone works in isolation. So when we talked about movement, when I said the word movement, you know, that's what I was trying to get at, because really and truly, if you're doing music, then you need an infrastructure to do music. You need people who can sing, you need people who can operate the equipment, you need people who can, you know, make music, and, you know, it takes the whole kind of infrastructure to do that. And I think what we've been doing, I think, you know, is doing it in isolation, download a beat off the internet, rap over that. And I think that does mean that, you know what I mean, our kind of creativity, which is very creative, has just been exploited by everybody else because they see it, they hear it, and they just take it because we have no business attribute when we was putting this thing together. I think really creativity is a very strong part of our nature. But I think one thing needs, because what we need to focus on is the business angle. So we focus on the business and look how we can use our creativity to actually make money. That should be, you know, if you're looking at a movement in terms of uplifting yourself, you know what I'm saying, we want to do a movement, we want to uplift ourselves. And if you look how hip-hop kind of progressed by people doing exactly that, doing it for themselves. They had their others doing the art, there was dancing, there was making the music to dance.
But you had one person, you had the creative people, but you had a Russell Simmons who didn't rap, who didn't do this and that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need as well. Like, it's all right being an artist, but I cannot put 100% into a project and have to think about all the little moving parts. So I think it's definitely about other people who are not who want to do paperwork, who want to do all the number stuff.
Isn't that a luxury? Because don't you have to?
Isn't that a what, sorry?
Isn't it a luxury to kind of be an artist and just be concerned about your creativity? Shouldn't more artists have more business acumen?
No, you have to have business
acumen. The idea of it is that way, but the reality of it is you have to be, as an independent artist, you have to be your manager, you have to be your PR person, you have to be your PA, everything falls on your shoulders, so that takes away from the creativity. If you are an artist, whether that's a rapper or a graffiti artist, a b-boyer or a beatboxer, you should be allowed to just be that person. You need the team behind you who are going to be like, well, this is what I do, I'm the manager, I'm going to manage this, I'm the PA, I'm going to do this, I'm the publicist, that's what you need.
But then you also, you need someone you can trust That's one thing.
Exactly.
Because I remember when I was making records, I don't know how many other people in here have been on like, not major labels, but semi-independent. So, you know, we were making records and we've been told by the company that we just broke even. Took a flight to Germany. I went to a shop. This man said, yo, we sold 500 copies of your record within 7 days. I was like, but the record company told me that's all that. And then the guy said, they also sent us another 500 copies. And I'm like, so I've got rinsed. And this is what I mean by any people that you can trust. Yeah, exactly. So you know, trust is a big thing, and who can you trust?
When it comes to having everybody who's had a movement, their manager or has been within the movement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes, not all the time. Though.
Not all the time,
yeah,
but
I mean,
usually that's the way about building up the movement, building up a hub. Where it's like people, those people are going to be inside it. Yeah. They can't come from outside. Definitely.
Okay, we're gonna go to a performer slightly in about 10 minutes, but there's one more question I want to get through before we do that. Are black hip hop artists being sidelined or whitewashed for mainstream appeal? And if so, wait a minute, no, we have to move. And if so, is this process necessary? Malik, I remember you kind of, on Facebook, you posted this track by Matt Lamore called White Privilege, where he even talks about that.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Sorry to cut you.
Well, it's just demographics, you know what I'm saying? We live in a country where like black people, like 1.5%, 2% of the population. So it's like, you know what I mean? People are going to gravitate to seeing themselves doing certain things, so that's going to happen. And the history of what's been going on and whatnot. So, you know what I mean? Everything that's going to happen with hip hop in the future, you know what I'm saying? We've already seen it with other music, so that's a bigger part of our argument that probably ain't really even started yet.
Smooth, do you have any thoughts on that working radio?
Building on what Malik said, it's like hip hop existed for the fact of people weren't seeing music that they relate to with people like themselves. And then as it's developed, it's gone out there where it's kind of gone to people who wouldn't necessarily be considered as the type of hip hop crowd. Now those people want to hear the same music, but they want to hear it from people who look like them, who are like them from where they are. So that's where you get that aspect as well. So you're getting different types of hip hop artists, different types of styles, different types of looks. It's the fact that it's blowing up. You're connecting to more communities, so you're getting more different artists.
But I remember Macklemore even said that. He said, he said he loves his fans and all that, but he said when his fans come to his show and say, I don't like hip hop, but I like you, or don't like hip hop, but I like you and one other person, probably Eminem or something like that. Sometimes he's like that. He sees that as that kind of is that thing. Well, the rest of us, it's just hip hop. Most of the time, we just hip hop people. We like who we like. But there is people who's outside the community who feel that way and will probably prefer their own than anyone else.
Because you know, you see a trend where you see like a lot of hip hop artists who are now kind of flowing over, I suppose, dance beats and stuff. But then you may see other hip hop artists, like white hip hop artists, who are allowed to kind of flow over like strictly hip hop beats and stuff. Do you feel like black hip hop artists have to compromise themselves there in order to kind of get exposure?
You know what? It's kind of, yes and no, because I can see what you're saying, and I can see certain times certain artists have to commercialize themselves to become accepted in the mainstream crowd. But then at the same time, it's a reverse thing as well, because you got some of the kind of white artists kind of have to go a bit harder to be more respected within the hip hop scene. So it's like a two-way thing, but I don't know.
We have to see how it plays out.
Anybody got any thoughts in the audience?
Anybody? Rock and roll, same thing happens to rock and roll in general. You've got outsiders coming in and, you know, the mainstream want to see it looking like that. You know what I'm saying? It's the way it's always been. You know
would say hip hop
Okay,
started
sorry,
as
if we can just let Ibu.
hip hop started as a movement, which then created an industry. So when you create an industry, then it's always going to gravitate towards the lowest common denominator, no matter what happens. So when we started all listening to hip hop when we were teenagers, I mean, I just found out that I'm actually older than you.
You what?
That's a surprise to me. But anyway, what I'm making is we were into hip hop culture just because we were just into it. It was just something that we did amongst ourselves. We weren't bothered about what anybody else would do because we loved the exclusivity of it. And then it turned into an industry. So then now the thinking is, oh, we've got to maximize and reach as many people as possible. As soon as you start doing that, then you have to include everybody. Yeah. And now it's come to a point where that beast has come back to say, well, we want it to be the way we want it to be. It's not going to be how we started it off. It's going to be what the lowest common denominator wants, no matter what we do. So we have to first concentrate on, is it a movement or is it an industry? That's what I see. So if it's a movement, then it will be what we want it to be. If it's an industry, then you have to go to the lowest common denominator of whatever that is.
Stick a pin in that, maybe we'll come to that, the beginning of the second half. Like I said, that we've got a performer, Dan Man, who's here to kind of perform for us tonight. We're going to let him do his thing, and then we're going to come back and start this debate off looking at solutions. So maybe we'll go back to your point, Ibu, about whether we want to do a movement.
Alright, everybody good in here? Yeah. I'm Dan Man. I'm from Family Faction, Birmingham, known as Escort. I'm not going to give you any raps now. I'm going to give you a couple of spoken words. The first one that I'm going to give you is called Let Your Black Woman. You can probably see the video around if you haven't, just type it in on YouTube. But basically, in regards to this event, the relevance is, as SIC'NIS pointed out to me, was this poem could, let's say, deal with the misogyny that hip-hop normally has towards women, kind of thing. So if the message behind this poem, if that's kind of embedded in our psyche, then maybe the type of, basically maybe women will be respected more. I'll just let the poem speak for itself. Silent screams can be right next to a black woman. A beautiful creature, not an animal. Aesthetically pleasing exterior, so tangible. You know, there should never be question of our compatibility. You hold me down, I hold you up. That's what it's supposed to be. Look and see, we lost our way from back in the day. The wounds are partially healed, but the scars still remain today. They say, if we educate a man, then you educate an individual. But if we educate you women, then we educate a nation. One of our downfalls is lack of communication. Too much pride, too much self-gratification. Be the queen that you are and you will attract that king. Be that significant change you want to be happening. But we must break the mental chains that used to shackle them. There's a war going on outside, but our battle's within. Break the cycle. Trace the historical origins of our mindset. Divide and conquer by design is how the thing set. Silent scream because we are disconnected. Our mutual perceptions of each other are all infected. Only scratching the surface of truth. It's never dissected. Distorted understanding, so logic is left neglected. Our children learn suffering from these games that we play. Crossing and arguing. Is that how we communicate? Work with me. Why you fighting me? Why despite for me? I'm out here in this system and it's guys, I am me. Can't rely on you because you think you can't rely on me. Social media documenting our activity. Turn my stereotype down, give me some credibility. You ain't gotta look at me like I'm a liability. If we don't build each other up, where's our stability? should empower each other to glory, be its epitome. No, I ain't gonna stop. By no means is this flattery. I'd rather be guilty of loving you than be guilty of assault and battery. The pessimistic viewpoint of me is not reality. And no, I don't do miracles, practice magic or alchemy. Do you know that sometimes you make me feel lonely? The house is like a war zone, supposed to be homely. The road's already cold, but colder when you don't console me. Sometimes I wonder why I feel like this love is phony. There's more to life than status, materials, or that big wage. Our children and our homes need us both to be on that same page. And not repeating history or breaking shackles, we are not slaves. But we will die that way if our dignity is taken to our graves. Let's cut our egos, humble ourselves, just listen. Conflict between us doesn't mean that I should go to prison. Separate our family equations like it's some long division. Subtracting from our kids, replacing them with the television. If we ain't breaking cycles, we just on some repetition. Our people need some vision for us to make some better decisions. Nah, this ain't even a song. It's just my perception of where we're going wrong. No, this was never a song. Just calling it how I see it, cause it's gone on too long. Just calling it how I see it, cause it's gone on too long. Just calling it how I see it, cause it's gone on too long. This next one I'm going to do is called Why Die a Gangster. It was inspired by my older cousin, Fourth Lord. And basically it's aimed at the youths and them, and it's talking about the stereotypes of society and basically don't become the stereotype and invest in knowledge of self, basically. Don't be the stereotype. Again, I'll let it speak for itself. Shout out Major Roman Production on the production of this. It's called Why Die a Gangster. Why die a gangster? When you were born a king, it's in you to ascend. You got to find your own wings. Why die a gangster? When you're so much more. Soul searching, expedition of self. Go ahead, go on. Explore. Why die a gangster? Your reputation on the road. Everything for a season. You know how that story unfolds. Why die a gangster? It was lies that you were told. Blinded by what you were showed. The hype got you involved. Why die a gangster? When you can just be bold. Does this mindset that you have, does it get your problem solved? You prefer to be a gangster all the way to you are. Are you really that statistic that the stereotype revolves? Deals with the devil for glitz, glamour and gold. All that price, which means souls compromised and sold. Why die a gangster when that's not really all? Life is a war of battles that could leave us with many scars. But we're recognizing its beauty, like when we're embracing art. But in life, if all you do is aspire to be a gangster, you're defeated before you start. We need that king mentality. Instead, we scream insanity. Aspire to drown in vanity. In turn, it breeds calamity. So why would you die a gangster when you were born a king? You're preventing your own ascension. You cannot fly without your wings. You're preventing your own ascension. You cannot fly without your wings. You're preventing your own ascension. You cannot fly without your wings. Thank you. Alright, I'm just going to give you a quick a cappella. This one's called We, and it's just about basically unity, what we can achieve and what we can accomplish if it's about we as opposed to I. Alright, I'm just going to drop it quickly. This is the new age renaissance. We on the front lines ready to take a stance. For too long, they've reigned over us natives. It's hard dodging dark clouds, but we do with start as we can dance. If we take a chance, we can break out of seclusion, out of confusion, revolution, love and evolution of the mind, body and soul in fruition, not something promoted in institutions. We transfer energy like cold fusion. We ignore ignorance. We serve ego's contusions. Democracy, hypocrisy, equality is an illusion. Let's rewrite history, but we do the narratives. When we took the shackles off, some of us remembered that we were innovating creatives, while others stayed mentally confined to the slave ships, and obliviously wear proudly the scarrings of slaves' whips. Repositioned and conditioned, cognitive dissonance to new conflicts. Intuition and premonitional instincts are not basic. So realize, when we rise out of the matrix. Thank you very much, everybody.
Brilliant spoken word there. Oh, thanks a lot. Very talented. So much talent in Birmingham. Before we kind of go to the second part of the debate, I'm interested to see who's actually listening to UK hip hop. We talk about it, but I wonder if everyone's kind of listening to stuff stateside. Can anyone name any artists that they're actually listening to now? Like you, Matthew.
Matthew.
Gigs.
Gigs. Anybody else? Look at you. Okay, anybody else?
So many people, man. Genesis Elijah, Terra Slim, Maestro, all of High Focus. There's too many UK talented people, man. People need to be listened to more. When I just said like Gigs and Retro 2, which are obviously like the obvious people, more like commercial, but there's hundreds of talented UK people from all over the place, from Liverpool, Manchester, London. I mean, I'm disappointed there weren't more people putting their hands up saying they're listening to UK hip hop, to be honest.
By a show of hands, who's actually listening to UK hip hop? Just out of interest.
I listen to MD7, you know. Well, I'll tell you straight, I listen to most of the artists. You know, I just got a snip in my inbox from Piffy and his little crew. And, you know, respect due, you know, I gotta say, you know, enough of the youths have got talent. As me, more of a mature man, you know I'm in my 43. And, you know, I've been banging hip-hop from America down to here. And a lot of the brothers who spit up here, you know, I gotta say, they got game, you know? And I'll tell you, I've got album collections, what I used to collect. And I don't know if you guys know about Temperance Records and them places there. You know, I used to go buy it, £7, you know, I paid £15 for the album and stuff like that. And, you know, I can say, out of all of it, Maurice Delta has really put the tip on the iceberg because the album was a classic, and I'll tell you that. But as for hip hop today, a lot of the brothers do spit it. I just wanted to say this. I think context and metaphors has changed over the times. And that's a lot of things that we have to look back into. Is like, let's get back into the craft. Because like he says, the industry has massaged it to where it's a lot that we've took away the context. We're rapping more about what we've got and materials instead of taking it back to the metaphor. But all love.
Who else? Not me. Oh, okay, let me go to you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, okay. I just want to mention funding streams. My name is Anita and I work for Arts Council England. I want to mention, I want to mention grants for the arts. Please apply. Hip hop is so underrepresented, and when it goes to panel, people don't even know what it is. So I'm there, you don't advocate and fight in the corner. There's also Momentum, and that's by the PRS Foundation for Music, and that's a higher tier, sort of for those that have reached excellence in their careers. So you've got to have videos, got to have fans, etc. And you can apply for 5,000 up to 15k. When I say apply, you do not pay the money back. It's a grant, it's your money, it's public money. The only thing we ask you to do is put a reporting at the end of the day. Miss C, congratulations, this is a result of grants for the arts. And as I said, I want to see more people applying, I want to see more people calling Arts Council and saying, can I speak to Anita, please?
Okay, so I just kind of wanted to check to see actually who's listening to UK. Was there somebody else who wanted to say? Yeah, hold on. Just get...
With regard to actually listening to UK hip hop, like I'm as much of a fan of it as I am a participant. There's two labels. There's a northern one, that's Blah Records, BLAH. That's from Liverpool, but it's got a lot of northern artists. There's a movement in Manchester, Mouse Outfit, that's got a whole lot of Manchester hip hop. There's a whole lot of them man up there doing it. Manchester's a man.
Who's that freestyler from Manchester? Shotty Horror, is it?
Yeah, the battle rapper. Yeah, he does it a lot. He like, man in America love him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Man in America love
good,
him.
man. He's
proper crazy. Oh, Chicago, I think. Chicago. Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get the money. I'm trying to get the money for that, innit? And then I'm looking to shoot a video. Nah, then obviously like my man set up there, High Focus. That's the southern one. That's the main one. Really, there's a whole bag of man on there doing it. I like 4 hours. That's they just got decent people. Yeah. I like Ono Capono. He's on High Focus now. There's a whole lot. And obviously there's.
Ono Capono was at the last 4 Pillars.
Yeah, was he? He's pure spiritual in his thing, innit?
He's got who else? Got Granville sessions that are good.
Yeah.
There's some guys from Leeds called, well, there's a particular guy, he joined up with The Office. How do you know? I just come across them the other day. They are heavy.
I do my homework, innit?
They are really, really good. I love the fact that they're rapping their own accent and they're just UK and they're just like Bristol's boys and we go ham. And I just really, really love that. I love that about anybody who does anything like that they keep it authentic and true to themselves.
Leicester, to be honest, there's a whole lot of crappy attitudes in Leicester, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a Midlands thing, really. That's why I'm interested in coming here and being in Birmingham and seeing like the Midlands. Like, obviously I'm a Midlands guy, but I'm not a Birmingham guy. You know what I'm saying?
Where are you from? You're from Leicester?
Leicester, yeah.
There's a lot of taxis out there, man.
Whole lot of taxis, yeah, and it's very expensive, yo. Because they try to copy London with money.